I'd like to offer you a quick tarot reading from the garden. This reading is for anyone who would like some support, some ideas about how to make meaning of the experience that we are having right now. These are collective readings, so they often feel like they describe themes that are moving through the collective. So though I'll have you choose between 3 readings, I recommend staying for all 3 and seeing what wisdom they might inspire from your own wise and creative subconscious. You choose between the purple Cosmo, the white Cosmo, or the pink Cosmo. Purple, white, or pink. Hi, I'm Brooke, tarot reader in the garden, in the woods, often outside, where I feel the closest to the mysterious aspects of the world and of my own psyche. We'll begin with the cards for purple. We have 8 of Cups and 7 of Swords. The 8 of Cups talks about the ways in which we are healing, in the ways in which we are making meaning of our lives. So there's often a sense of a spiritual component, making meaning of the difficult things that happen to us, the wounds, the challenges, the pain. And that's why it's associated with healing, because it's how we reckon with, how we come to terms with the experiences that we've had, the wounds that we have, the paths to healing that we have learned about. And the 7 of Swords is the card of strategic thinking, efficiency, planning, research, doing all of the things that it takes to get from point A to point B in the most practical and cleverest manner. So it feels like these cards might be asking us to be strategic, be thoughtful, be decisive about whatever healing journey we're on. Maybe do some research, and rather than kind of be passive recipients or play the long game, the 7 of Swords is a card about finding shortcuts. So we might learn a way to circumvent some of the long process of healing and get there a little bit faster. The cards for the white Cosmo are the reversed Chariot and the Page of Discs. So the Page of Discs may represent whatever sort of seasonal change is happening in our lives right now. This can literally be, the change of the seasons, like for gardeners moving from, the long summer into the canning and cooking process, the storage of food process. That's the kind of shift that the Page of Discs indicates. It's a change that comes about with a sense of planning, a sense of coming out of a season of work and productivity, and then taking whatever that previous effort was and putting it into practice, or putting it into cans. So what is the metaphor here for you? Where do you feel something changing, where it's okay, now is the time that I have to take care of X, Y, and Z before, the food goes rotten, and to prepare for the long, cold winter? What is that preparation point? What is that turning point that we are experiencing? What season have we just come out of that now we need to take and make, take the apples and make the cider from? What is it that needs to be pressed, condensed, stored, ready for the next stage of our lives? And the reverse Chariot card is a card that suggests that some part of ourselves, as we're engaged in this transitional phase, that we might be being driven, the vehicle of our body, the vehicle of our consciousness might be driven by one of the like more immature aspects of ourselves, one of the hurt, undeveloped aspect of ourselves, an unhealed part. When the reverse chariot comes up, it's like our witnessing wise self, the centered self that we have in our hearts or in our bodies. It's like that's taken a back seat and is not driving, and some other part of ourselves that may be causing more harm than good is actually the part that's in control. So the Page of Discs indicates that it's an important time. It requires us to meet this moment, requires us to meet it with a certain amount of presence and maturity, even possibly stoicism, but a coherent, calm self, not one of the wild parts of us. So with these cards, there's a feeling that we might need to acknowledge that whoever's been making the decisions in our lives right now might not be the one that should be stepping up. And we might want to invite that part to step forward now. For the pink flower, we have the Judgment reversed and the King of Wands. There are a few different ways to interpret these cards together, so please let me know if you'd like some other ideas with these. But I'll just give the first that comes to mind, which is the reverse Judgment card may indicate a time when we are being excessively, irrationally hard on ourselves. The Judgment card can show up when there is like harsh criticism. It could be of someone else. But with the King of Wands here, I feel like there's an inward directed energy, maybe holding ourselves to an impossible standard, or worrying the same thing over and over again, that the same flaws, the same failures that we have always kind of hated about ourselves. That's the feeling of this reverse Judgment card, is a focus on what we have done wrong, how we have not lived up to who we thought we wanted to be, or who we thought other people wanted us to be. And the King of Wands has almost an opposite energy of that. The King of Wands represents us when we are in our most sort of self-confident, even like overly self-assured state, when we are able to love ourselves and see ourselves as beautiful. And when he comes up reversed, he does represent the excessive side of that, even the narcissistic side of that, but he's coming here upright. So there is a feeling of healthy self-regard. So I feel like these two cards here are indicating that the level of self-doubt, self-criticism, judgment we have been engaging in is potentially profoundly harmful and requires an intervention, some kind of more self-compassion, more self-love, more spaciousness within.